Hi, my name is Michael. I work for AECOM. Who has heard of AECOM here? Yeah, AECOM, big construction, engineering, architecture, design firm. They designed the World Trade Center, the new towers. They designed the building right over here, Vanderbilt 1. And my interest on VR for WordPress originated because they do a lot of VR projects for the clients. So before they actually start laying out bricks or even going into the AutoCAD, they create VR experiences to sell concepts and projects to the clients. I'm not here to represent AECOM or their views in any way or form. Basically, I'm going to talk about some possibilities, some virtual reality possibilities for WordPress. So let's talk about VR experiences really quick. So they're simple and immersive. So you could see some VR experiences, for example, on Google Maps when you're able to have a 360 view. That's a very simple experience, right? It's on the browser, it's on the screen. And then you have immersive. For immersive experiences, you probably need a headset. You probably have some audio component into it. So VR stands for virtual reality. I'm sure that you guys seen it. Oculus is a very famous platform, very popular. The Gear VR, the Samsung set, in which you actually put in your phone and you use virtual reality that way. Google Cardboard. It's like $20. It does like the exact same thing that a Samsung Gear VR set does. And it's basically the entire experience lives on the device. Then there's AR, which is augmented reality, in which you are putting all those experiences into the real world, but with the device in between. So the device is basically your gateway to mixing reality, virtual reality with the real environment. And then there is mixed reality, which kind of combines both. You've probably seen at the PlayStation mixed reality set. You have a headset, and then you also have handles. So usually the difference between virtual reality and mixed reality is mixed reality is taking clues from the real environment. So a lot of if you look at those handles, they have lights, and the set itself has some lens that are detecting movement. So if you want to experience that, Microsoft has a really good demo at the Microsoft store on Fifth Avenue. So that's a mixed reality set. So there are browser-based VR experiences. There are a few frameworks that you can try. There's A-Frame by Mozilla. There's WebXR, which used to be called WebVR. All those two are open source. There's React VR, which takes virtual reality and the whole component philosophy of building software into play. And there's Primrose, which is a VR wrapper for 3JS. Who here has used 3JS? It's a 3D JavaScript library. So you can create 3D objects with JavaScript, and then you wrap it with Primrose, and now you have a virtual environment. So use cases for VR in WordPress. So if you're a freelancer, and that's the reason why I thought about this talk, maybe you're developing a travel site for a travel agency. You can offer some of those experiences on your website. You're working for an architecture firm. You can offer those experiences there. Real estate is really big applications on real estate right now, and we're going to see one. Now there's a lot of real estate companies and construction companies who are using VR to show their customers how their kitchen is going to be, look like when it's done and things like that. There's startups in which you can actually use augmented reality to position furniture in a space and then order the furniture that way. Education, training, think about technical high schools, think about engineers, think about mechanics, and medical. So now there are technologies that would allow a doctor to actually operate virtually on a patient. So these are some cameras for 360 video and photo. The first one is the Gear VR, which I own. It's very inexpensive. It's literally just two fisheye lens, and they are taking video simultaneously, and then you stitch that video together, and you have a 360 video experience. Then you have more sophisticated ones like this jaunt one. That is a dedicated rig. This product was made for that. And then you have pretty much just these rigs in which people can put all kinds of cameras, and then with specialized software also put all that video together. This is something that I've seen, for example, Discovery Channel or the New York Times. This is the type of stuff that they will use. And these are just some simple VR sets. So that's the Google Daydream and the cardboard, basically. And you're using your phone for that. You don't need to buy a dedicated set for those. That's the Gear VR, which I own. It's great. It's literally just a piece of plastic. But it does have some functionalities with the control and with the way that you can adjust your vision. It comes with a controller now, which more or less kind of makes it feel like virtual mixed reality, but it's not. It's a Bluetooth controller, and what the Bluetooth controller is doing is just basically sending location information back to the set. It's not really taking clues from the physical position of the controller. So how do you host content for VR content for WordPress? So to create VR content that you want to deploy over the web, of course you have to be aware of size. It has to be decoded with specialized software. We don't have a lot of time to get into the details. If you're streaming VR content, which is something that I'm seeing more and more, there are startups that are basically doing events and concert experiences in which you can access from a VR set and literally just watch a concert happening in the West Coast. And you could literally just look around and there's like people around you, and then you see the stage. So live stream, for that you will need a special server to stream that VR content to your website. You could host it on the media library. It might require to tweak your WordPress so it allows for larger files. I'm sure we all done that at one point or another. Or it could be hosted on WordPress.com. WordPress.com started supporting VR content for a few months now. So things like 360 video, panoramic pictures, and things like that. Okay. And also iframes. You could literally just embed an iframe into a page. And there's YouTube, there's ways that you can upload VR 360 video to YouTube and use it on your site. So let's look at a couple of plugins. One is called VR Gallery Beta. It's based on A-Frame. These are the open source galleries that we talked about. Matterport Viewer, which is used for architecture. It's a commercial plugin. It's not open source. You need to pay to use something like this. It's very popular with real estate and with interior designers. So if you're a freelancer and you're doing sites for architecture firms or interior designers, please look at that, because this is kind of more or less becoming a standard. And DI Image 360, which is based on the Google Cardboard library, and it's just basically an environment that allows you to code images so you can see them in a 360 point of view. So one point that I want to make is in 360, basically you are the center of the experience, and what that allows you to do is just to look around. In virtual reality, in mixed reality, you could probably use the space or with the controllers move forward, backwards, or experience the environment better. And Matterport will do that for you as well. All right, so that's it for the presentation. Let me show you some of the plugins in action. This is just a plain WordPress installation. Here's a VR photo gallery. This is using the A-Frame library. And as you can see, these are just pictures that were uploaded to the media library. And the way that you embed this to your page is with a shortcode, as simple as that. Then the wrapper will basically create this environment for you, where you can see and control, move up, move down. So if I access this with my VR headset, I have the option to launch the full VR experience by clicking here. So that now it takes over the whole screen. And my headset and my phone will detect that, and now I can actually move my head and navigate this environment with the headset itself. 360 photos, see, more of a simpler experience. Is basically a environment in which you can navigate the picture from the center. It has an option to go full screen. It is for the web, so you have to use the mouse. This doesn't work with the headset. There's some options here to basically make it rotate. You can zoom in and zoom out.
How do you take the photos for that?
So good question. So you could take a panoramic picture. Basically, just take a picture right here, and then take another picture right here. And there's specialized software that will help you stitch those pictures together.
How about with an iPhone?
You could do that, sure. Yeah. But then you have to embed a lot of metadata into it to make it work in the plugin. So there are many options. There's many ways that you can do that online. It depends on the format of the picture. It depends on where you're going to use it. The technology right now is becoming more accessible, but there might be a learning curve. So for example, when I bought my Samsung VR, it came with a specific piece of software, and that's what I use for the VR content that I create. But if you want to create content on your own and then make it VR, then there are some extra steps that you have to make to embed that metadata into the file.
Okay, so if I have my iPhone and I take a pan and picture of this, I get an output from the iPhone. Can I put that output directly into this?
I think so. Yeah, I personally never done it with an iPhone. I have a 360 camera, but what I have done before is I had to download at one point. No, that was for a video. Sorry, but basically I had to download that exe file, and what that file did was embed all that metadata into the JPEG, and then when you open that with something like a VLC player or a piece of software that enables 360, it will grab the metadata and give you the environment. Without the metadata, then it's just a straight JPEG file that is just going to look very long and weird. So a lot of these plugins, I think, will offer you that as well. It will give you the steps to make your pictures 360 and your videos 360. So for 360 video, you do need some sort of specialized device, because it has to be, when you stitch it, it has to be in a way that it actually looks, credible to a point. So this is a Matterport. It is a more complex experience. You can actually explore and create these 3D spaces, and this company, what they will do for you is they will come to this room and scan this room with 3D scanners and give you back a file. And that file has this entire room in a virtual environment. So let's see, for example, as a pop-up, it loads, and then I could just literally navigate this house. And this is also optimized for the headsets. So right now I'm just using my mouse, but you could experience this with the headset and navigate the environment like that.
What are they using to generate the photo?
So these are actual camera. These are actual 3D cameras. I've seen them. They look like a clam. So it pretty much looks like this, and it has a bunch of lens. And a person will come around the room and scan the entire space, and it will turn into a file like this. Pretty cool. So this is a more advanced.
I've seen the output, but I haven't seen the creation of the data. I've seen what you're showing me, but I haven't seen the actual camera, how they capture the data.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I will. This I haven't. I've seen videos of how they do it. It's a proprietary technology, so I'm assuming that they have software, specialized software, where they can import this file and create these experiences.
And a special camera.
Huh?
And a special camera.
And a special camera, yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
called Matterport.
Yeah. And 360 video. So there are places. Oh, it has sound. Cool. So there are places where you could download 360 video. Again, there's metadata embedded in the video that would allow the plugin to work. Without the metadata, the plugin doesn't know what to do. So this seems to be a more high-end experience to what I have, which is the Samsung Gear, the 360 camera, which is literally just two fisheye lens. This looks like it's a lot of cameras together because the resolution is really good. And the plugin, what the plugin does is it detects that you have using the headset, and it switches on all those, what allows you to actually move around, up and down, basically replacing the mouse. But you're always the center, right? And yeah, that's it, guys. It's just a really quick review of this. I think it's very exciting what's going on. Just yesterday, actually, I experienced the first 360 video taken in space by an astronaut in the International Space Station. It was really cool, and there's some really cool apps on the Samsung store where you could, for example, you could experience Syria. You know, what does it look like to be in a war zone, things like that. Which I think it has a lot of good potential for education as well. So, do you have any questions?
What's browser support like right now?
Right now, I will say, because it's a JavaScript based and is open source, I will say anything modern. I did try this in Internet Explorer 10 and it didn't work. So we can assume that anything, above 11, Edge, latest couple of versions of Firefox.
I started working Firefox. Someone sent me one of these videos for a real estate thing.
Yeah.
I worked in
For Firefox, yeah.
You just mouse around it, and I didn't have to download anything. It was it came in over the internet. It was
Cool. Yeah. So I think that as this becomes more. All right, let's stop this guy.
it had nothing to do with WordPress. It just had to do with the browser.
Yeah. But the plugins, I think there's a long way, and there's not a lot out there in the to choose from. I think that they could be better. Developers still have a long way to go, especially with these frameworks that are more or less new and they're still being developed, like A-Frame. And A-Frame is one of the most. I don't know if you guys seen that. It's supported by Mozilla, so you can actually make VR objects with A-Frame. It's all just pure JavaScript, and you can view 360 images, and then but now when you start creating this content and you start deploying this through WordPress, now you're getting into issues with performance, best practices, and things like that, which is still kind of new. But I see a lot of potential. If you're a freelancer and you're going after, let's say, a real estate client, you can tell them, hey, buy one of these 360 cameras, go out there to these open houses, shoot some video, give it to me. I'll put all these experiences on your website and sell it that way. Or
People doing that now.
yeah, they're doing that now. Yeah,
What is your firm doing with this? Can you give us an example?
they do that for client with the client. So if they try to visualize something, they're trying to sell a concept. For example, they're doing some stuff with Hyperloop, and they create.
I don't know Hyperloop.
Oh, Hyperloop is this I don't know if you guys seen it. Elon Musk's. Yeah, it's basically like tubes, like
I didn't know
yeah,
that. Yeah.
transportation
Got it,
solutions
got it.
basically. And what they do is like, how do you show a client, or how do you show a district or a county or a mayor how this thing is going to look like out there in your city, for example. And they do that with VR. That would be the cheapest thing. Yeah.
And there's something in PowerPoint where you can take images and it will slide through the images, change them like this. You know what I'm talking about?
PowerPoint? No.
Yeah, I think they call it VR or something. I forget what they call it, but
Okay.
it's in the new version.
No, I haven't seen it.
You actually create an animation video within PowerPoint from images, so it will morph from one into another.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, I think the difference between something like that and VR is that VR, you're more or less in control of what you want to see, while 3D is just a flat image
It
that
just
it looks
plays. That's
that
right.
it looks very real.
It just plays.
It should place exactly. Yeah.
You mentioned at the beginning you can host these files on YouTube. YouTube accepts all these file types.
Yes, yes. It's just an MP4.
Every framework you showed was just they're all MP4.
MP4s and JPEGs, but they have metadata embedded in the file that allows this functionality to work.
That's what the PowerPoint does. It makes an MP4 file.
Ah, okay.
Terrific.
Yeah,
Wonderful.
it's pretty cool. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
really.
still. I mean, I don't think that every American household is gonna have a VR set in their, living room at one point. But I do see a lot of great applications in education, architecture. Imagine the military, like training and simulations and things like that.
Travel, especially
Um,
travel.
Yeah, travel I think is great. That's what I do. I bring my my 360 camera and I take videos of everything, 360 videos of everything. Any more questions?
Terrific. Really good. Wonderful.
Thank you.